On that note, today we have amongst us eminent personalities from different sectors of the corporate world to grace the occasion of our HR conclave on the theme Organizational Success Through Effective Human Resource Management, the Post-COVID Trend. I would now like to take this opportunity to introduce to you our chief guest for the day, Captain Singh, Director, Implementations, Customer Success and Strategic Partnerships, Darwinbox, Dubai, UAE. Darwinbox turned a unicorn earlier this year and stands amongst the top 3 human resource management systems platforms in India and growing rapidly in Southeast Asia and Middle East. Captain Singh drives growth and operations for 4 geographies, including parts of India, Middle East, and Africa. He's also shaping up Darwinbox's strategic partnerships. He brings in over 18 years of experience in business leadership, HR leadership, and people management roles. He's an expert in HR transformation interventions during the post mergers and acquisitions involving complex business, geographical, and cultural nuances. A well-known face in the HR and HR tech space, he was recently named amongst top 30 HR influencers on Twitter in April 2022. He is an active propagator of notable people practices that enable effective tech transformations and OKRs approach. We welcome you, sir. It's an honor to have you with us today. May I request Captain Singh, sir, to take over the session and deliver the inaugural address?
Thanks. Thank you, Latika. It was indeed a long intro, so thank you very much for that. First of all, also thanks to Shri Vipul Gupta ji, Dr. Suniti, Dr. Aparna, Dr. Devinder Sharma for making me a part of this HR conclave. I think I have about 15 minutes, so I will make an effort to talk about the subject of hybrid work environment. Just help me if my screen is visible. Yeah. Okay. So I'll take maybe about 10 minutes to share a little about what we are doing and how probably also make an effort to relate it with how this hybrid work environment, and especially the last 2 years, have helped us scale in this period and how we are looking at certain tenets of the hybrid work environment. So as shared a little beforehand, we are Darwinbox, and there was a quote which is a timeless quote from Charles Darwin. It says, "It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." This quote probably has proven itself once again, especially in the last 2 years. So a lot that we could accomplish during the last 2 years is attributed to this adaptability and thriving in almost a complete virtual environment. The 33% of life cycle of Darwinbox was during this pandemic period. And if I say what we could accomplish, we became the fastest growing platform in Asia. They reached about 700 plus global enterprises, but also became a unicorn earlier this year. And above all, could also, a valuation is a validation from an investor point of view, but a bigger excitement for a product company is when its customers appreciate it. Darwinbox moved and became the highest rated HRMS platform on the Gartner Magic Quadrant and moved into the Magic Quadrant as the only Asian platform being there. Now, what all of this, comes together and says is, in a country like India, where we are known for our prowess in the tech services space. So, as most of us know, out of the top 8 tech services companies, 4 companies are from India. I go to Silicon Valley, TCS or Infosys, they're given a respect of being one of the best in the world. But if we move into or onto the other side of tech product companies, we would scramble for nodes to identify if there are maybe even 3 or 4 companies which are the best tech product companies globally or amongst the top 3 globally in their space. Very, very few or none. So, moving there and, once again, reiterating, a large part of this is attributed to excelling in ability to adapt to the hybrid work environment. So how we looked at or the hybrid, and how the world is looking at hybrid is something I'd like to take maybe a few minutes and max of 3 slides as we go forward. So this is excerpt from a Gallup survey, which was done recently, somewhere in February 2022. They covered large part of workforce in the West and across the world, where it showed that the preferred location of the workforce continues to be either exclusively remote or hybrid. If we see the rightmost part of the slide at this point in time, where the hybrid is expected from a workforce standpoint to be valid in 60% of the workforce. And about 32% of the workforce is expecting to work exclusively remote, and just about 9% of the workforce. And the interesting part is that even in February 22, when the survey was done, almost 19% of the workforce was working fully on site. However, the anticipation of even that workforce is that they'll partially move into hybrid and exclusive remote. So which also means that this remote and hybrid work is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's something to which the organizations need to adapt and thrive along with this environment. So when this hybrid discussion started, because more or less from March 20 to maybe around November, December 21, it was more of a complete virtual environment versus coming back to office. And in the later part of the 2021 is where the hybrid discussion started, that it's not working back or coming back to office or working from home, it will be a hybrid. So how do we look at what is a hybrid work environment? And this is something that been discussing with many CHROs internally and many people all across. Some people give a definition of maybe a mix in office and remote work. Some people talk about flexibility. There are different ways that people approach it. A perspective that we used as an org and we felt is critical, and personally also we felt made a lot of sense to us, is that hybrid is a mindset shift accompanied by a cultural shift in the org, wherein we move from focus on time devotion to outcome devotion. And all of this, whether it is bringing in productivity tools, technological tools, creating an environment which helps people in remote, hybrid, all of this is an outcome of. So as a person, or as people who've been working mostly in physical environments together in the past, there is a natural bias that comes. So if we have 2 people, one who's working right next to our desk, spends good amount of time in terms of bringing the outcomes, and there is another one who's not in front of our eyes, maybe works fully remotely, and both of them, due to various reasons, suppose are not able to achieve their outcomes, there is a natural tendency to make positive affirmations about the person who's working right next to us, saying that, oh, he was working really hard but couldn't achieve the outcomes. However, somebody who's not in front of our eyes, there used to be, or sometimes people used to think that probably that person was not investing or making enough efforts to achieve the outcomes. And that's where the first set of differentiation started. And or probably, and that is also the first step of failure of the hybrid work environment or a success during a hybrid work environment. So have been thinking, and also, maybe it's a part of whatever I could understand and gather from the environment, is what could be the tenets of a hybrid world, as to what could be the principles that can help a hybrid world being successful, and could in very small or a simple one slide could come up with this: engagement, productivity, and fairness. So the first thing that got hit when the hybrid work started, and to make it sustainable as we move forward, the engagement of people working right next, and those you're not able to meet for months altogether, or weeks, or a few days in a week, the engagement levels need to go higher, and have to have those facets of being able to engage not only the people who are right next to us, but also those who are not right there. So there are technological tools that are coming in. There are even 3D avatars that are coming in. So a lot of enhancements is happening in terms of technology, which is helping us engage with the workforce better. And a special effort, I'm sure most of the organizations are putting in to enhance the engagement in this kind of environment. The engagement is also facilitated by the change in the culture, where an event or coming together doesn't always means coming together physically. Also means those engagement that happens in a virtual world. The second tenet that we feel is productivity. A high focus on productivity, then the other aspects of the work gives an ability to tomorrow compare the outcomes of two people who have been working differently in terms of their way of work, which leads to the third tenet, which is fairness. Engaged workforce, which is delivering outcomes beyond or better than the market and the outside world and internally, treated fairly, comes together in creating a high performing organization and delivering great outcomes. So I would like to stop here, and we come back to the participants here, as also the other participants in today's conclave, and happy to take up questions if any.
So the question answer session we have put at the end of this session. So the participants will be taking up the questions at the end of this entire session.
Sure, Latik.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable experience and perspective on hybrid work environment. We certainly have had some very noteworthy takeaways from your detailed presentation. Thank you, sir.